Hi there, Paul here from the Conversation Table, and I'm here today with Jules from the Travel Specialist. Jules, welcome.
Savannah.
Very good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Let's start off with Africa. It's a bucket list trip of many, many travellers. So I want to go to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's overwhelming because it's such a big place.
Yes.
What do I do?
Okay, so there's always, you're going to have in your mind, and you're going to see TV, print, people have been before, you're going to be watching television to see documentaries, and you always get this perception of animals, animals, animals. So I always like to say to yourself and other industry colleagues, and even when I'm talking with consumers, clients, that what is it that you're wanting to get out of your experience? Is it just to see that leopard in a tree, or is there something else about the trip that they're wanting to do? So it would come down to the destinations and also what they're wanting. So if they're just wanting animals and just it, they want to spend a week or two in wilderness regions, well, then you'd look at East Africa. You would visit Kenya, Tanzania, and then visit regions such as the Masai Mara, the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro Crater, the other areas, of course, Samburu to the north, the Rift Valley, where the flamingos are. So you're going to get this amazing safari experience where every region you get to, it's going to be animals of a particular, maybe that's their habitat, you don't see them anywhere else, or you're seeing the massive herds of the river crossings in the Masai or Serengeti, depending on the timing of year. Although, in saying that, if animals is a part of the experience, but then there's other things. We want to see, where's that fall? You know, what's that waterfall called, Paul? What's it called?
I believe that's called Vic Falls.
Victoria Falls. So you're on the border of Zimbabwe and Zambia. So you're a way away from East Africa. So, and the clients, but your clients are potentially wanting to do a bit of diversity. They're wanting to do some history. They're wanting some culture and great food experiences of, say, Cape Town, and then the garden route. So then you'd probably consider doing a Southern Africa itinerary, because then that way you can do Cape Town, you can still do safari in the Kruger region. We've got lovely private game reserves there that we can sell, which are adjacent to the main national park. Then from there, we can combine Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe and then adding in Chobe National Park as well. So you sort of get into the four most popular Southern Africa regions.
How long would I need to do something like that?
If you're going to do Eastern Africa, where I mentioned earlier,
Yep.
you'd be looking between roughly 2 weeks. It'd give you a really good time in each of the destination. And the thing too is that isn't automatic. The animals just aren't there waiting for you. It's not like going to Melbourne or Taronga Zoo or Monado
They're not
South.
just right there, no?
No, well, you would assume that there was, but
Yeah.
no. So you need to have time. You need to explore. You need to go off and explore and look, and the guide is the most important aspect of the safari. The safety, the knowledge, the expertise, their training.
Yep.
Why we're different to anyone else is the fact that we train our own guides, and by Richard Ruskin, the owner. So Richard trains our guides in East Africa in particular, and the knowledge is amazing with the trackers. I went last year to Kenya and spent nearly 2 weeks over there with these guides, and just saw the difference from where I've been with previous safaris, and just noticed the difference of the quality, the attention to detail, and the knowledge of what they're actually looking at.
If you were to put down, what makes a good safari, obviously you've mentioned the guide, but what's the difference with African travel specialists as opposed to anyone else? Like, what's your point of difference?
The service, the knowledge,
Yep.
the experience.
Yep.
So I've been to Africa 21 times
Yep.
in a career of 15 years.
Yep.
Richard has been, oh God, he would say probably over 400 times, and he'll tell you about every single trip as well.
Yeah.
But coming from the top down, everyone that works in the company has been to Africa several times. There's years and years of experience.
Yeah.
And it's the other point of difference is the quality of the property, the reputation, the service level. We want your clients to have the best experience and the best trip of a lifetime,
Yeah.
not necessarily just going off and doing a safari.
Do you want to talk about your vehicles? Because I understand they're tailor-made for
Absolutely.
exactly.
So in East Africa, when you are traveling, you're in a Land Cruiser. So that vehicle would pick you up from Nairobi Airport, for example, you would do a day tour through Nairobi. You would visit attractions, the Giraffe Centre, Karablixen Museum. You would visit sort of the region. But then when you're looking at the map and you need to start getting to these places, if you're heading to Samburu, which is north of Kenya, approximately 6 hours, that vehicle is your method of transport to get you from point A to point B.
Right.
And then when you hit the national parks or the wilderness areas, then that roof will raise. And then inside of that, each has got their own seats.
Right.
You've got charging units there or power points so your devices can get charged as you travel.
Yep.
And then even in the passenger seat, if someone's got mobility issues and they don't want to get into the back of the vehicle, which isn't that elevated, but if someone's a bit concerned, they can sit in the front seat.
Right.
That vehicle will then be your safari vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So you will travel, if it's a few hours, or you could be in all day, and you will travel from point A to point B. So these vehicles are beautiful. I've spent 2 weeks with them recently. I went to Samburu. I went to Lake Alamataita in the Rift Valley. I went to the Masai Mara, and then also around Nairobi.
Can we just focus on Kenya as you are? But what's
Yeah.
the difference between Samburu, the Lakes District, and then
Yeah, so
obviously
so Samburu to the north, approximately 6 hours, is quite special because you do have the unique experience of seeing 5 different animal variations that you don't necessarily see anywhere else.
Yep.
So, for example, the giraffes. There's 3 types of giraffes. There's a Maasai reticulated and the Rothschild giraffe.
Right.
So you get to see one of those up in Samburu. There's the oryx, there's the Somalian ostrich, there's a gerenuk. So you do have the Grevy's zebra. So you got 5 unique animal breeds that you can only see in Samburu.
Right.
The cultural, the color, the brightness of what you see in Samburu is completely different in the Maasai.
Right.
So in when we visited in the Samburu village, the ladies would do the welcome, they would do the jump. So the guests on our tour, they were welcomed into the village, and then from there we're able to, and you spend US US to get in. And that you just do when you get there. You don't need to prearrange it, but it's what you got to do. And when you were there, you're taken through the welcome, how they live, and then, of course, if you want to donate or buy any of their jewelry or items that they've created locally.
Right.
But then in the Maasai, it's the male culture. So it was the men that did the welcome and the men that did the jump. So you found that the colors were a little bit different as well.
Right.
But just amazing experiences. And you do this as part of your driving, as a part of your day to day.
Right. Excellent. Very good. And it is different north to south. So
Yeah, well, the landscape in Samburu there, the mountains, the river that flows through. From the minute we drove in the gate, we had a herd of elephants, which was straight away. Then we had that Grevy's zebra straight away within 5 minutes again. Then we saw the giraffes, and then we got to our lodge. So we'd seen all this great diversity of landscape and the animals before we even got to our accommodation.
And the difference in Maasai, is it more of a...
It's a sort of plains, and you've got the river there, of course. It's quite a busy place, of course, too. So you notice that the dents of the amount of operators and visitors that you see down in the Maasai, particularly in the high season. In Samburu, we found that it just wasn't as busy, which was great because you're exploring. You may have a private license yourself. We have that.
Yeah.
We had leopards, of course, with other vehicles, but then we went tracking for cheetah, and we did a whole range of things. So I just found that Samburu, it's well worth the drive. Some clients are wanting to not drive as much, but if they are looking to fly around, but you still need to do that part of it.
Yeah.
And then drive down into that Rift Valley because the landscape is just amazing, and
Yeah.
to see the high valleys, and then you see the lakes. And the lakes, Lake Nakuru and Lake Alamataita, these is where the flamingos are.
Right.
So they need the algae which is sort of around the rim of the lake. And then the flamingos in season, it's quite this pink lake,
Yep.
the flamingo. But then they migrate south once that water level gets higher. They can't get their algae, so then they need to go south. So they go into areas of Tanzania for that. The Maasai, over 90 mammals, so this connects through to the Serengeti on the Tanzanian side. And this is where you could spend 3, 4, 5, 6 days.
So is it easier to get from the Maasai to the Serengeti?
Well, you'd think so because it's a
It's right there.
continuation of the lands. However, you've got an international border between the two.
Ah, right.
So
Okay.
you can't
That
just,
presents problems
yeah, you
or
can't,
challenges.
yeah, you can't just drive across the
Okay.
border.
Right.
So you need to either fly this with two light aircrafts that will connect you between the two.
Yep.
Otherwise, you need to come out of the Maasai, come all the way around via Lake Victoria to the border checkpoint, and then re-enter into the central
Right.
Serengeti
Yep.
and re-enter that way.
Yep.
So that's a full day
Yeah.
and a night, really. You need to overnight if with excess driving. Alternatively, you fly it in the morning, you come out of one lodge, you do a transit, you get into the next lodge, you're done in the morning.
Yeah.
Which features as part of Richard's East African safaris, which
Well,
he's done for over 20 years.
That's what I was going to get to. So obviously, a lot of people come in and want to see the migration. Um, and yeah, if we just focus on Richard's
Yeah,
East
so
African
so this
migration
will be his
safari.
23rd or 24th year that he's done this now. So Richard leads this tour. This year's departure, we've got one in June. We have one in September as well.
Is there a difference between what you will see in both of those?
A
Or
little bit. It's
Yep.
just the destinations, maybe one or two that may be
Okay.
different depending on the
Yep.
season. So, for example, you may have an extra day in the Serengeti or in the Maasai, just depending on the time of year of what the expectations are, what you should be seeing, we hope
Right.
to see.
Yep.
But you visit Samburu, you would get to the Maasai, the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro crater, which is the sixth deepest crater in the world.
Right.
Imagine standing in the middle of the MCG.
Yep.
With an 18 by 21-kilometer stand. That's how I like to describe it.
That's a pretty big MCG.
It is. It is. Imagine
Carlton
standing.
still probably won't win.
Yeah,
but
probably
anyhow.
not. No, no, that's it. Yeah. So, and you'd be standing in the middle of it, and it's just this eerie feeling of this big, massive football ground. That was the first thing I thought when I first went there.
Right.
But you do have game there. Lake Manyara, which is around there, to Arusha, then Amboseli National Park on the Kenyan side. But its backdrop is Mount Kilimanjaro, which is Africa's highest mountain.
Right.
So 5,895 meters high.
Yep.
So that's included on one of the departures as well.
Right.
But we have 2 nights in Nairobi. So you get there on your arrival day from Australia.
Yep.
And then the second day, we have the day tour through Nairobi. So you visit the Giraffe Centre, visit a beads factory. This is a great Kenyan welcome. And there's an opportunity to purchase from the shop of beads and belts and lots of jewelry items. And so, yeah, it's a great way to start. But then, of course, while Richard's tours are fantastic, they're with our guides and our vehicles. We have the 2 departures every year. You can still tailor make it still with our vehicles and guides. So we can still put this together for you with our own, still our guides and experience. If clients can't go with that date, there's 2 or 4 or 6 traveling together, well, then we can have their own vehicle and then we can plan the itinerary accordingly.
Yeah, right.
There are going to be clients where they want to fly in and fly out everywhere. We can fly you to Samburu. We can fly you to the Maasai. We can do the flights within Tanzania as well. So we can do all that for you, which we've done.
So you can take aspects of each of these planned itineraries and make it yourself.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Because you could have clients that are transiting to Europe or to the United Kingdom and they just want to go and do a safari on their way. We could easily fly them to and from the Masai Mara, and then we would then, based on their budget, of course, we could work out somewhere to stay. So we'd always recommend a premium to a high-end experience because we want your clients to have the best trip here.
Yeah.
We don't want them staying in somewhere which is the credibility or they've read something or they've done it online. That's definitely not what you want. So you want guides that have got experience, their knowledge, their expertise, their reputation and service.
So a lot of customers come in and go, well, safety at night, like explain a night on safari. What am I going to do?
Yeah, well, you're wanting to first of all, when you arrive in a camp, particularly if you are in the wilderness region. So recently, when we stayed, we're at in the Maasai, in the Mara area, and where we stayed was a luxury tented camp with no fences. And animals were in their natural habitat. So you follow the instructions of the staff that work there, and then by day you are free to walk to and from your tent back to the main area, but at night you do need a security escort to take you to and from. And there's always security presence around the camp at night. So you don't need to worry. If you're concerned, there are safety precautions and procedures that they explain to you when you are there. But listening, follow the advice. Don't go out and go, oh, pretty cat. Oh, don't go out and take a photo. Don't go something like that.
Right.
But yeah, you just follow the instructions and you always stay in the tent and you never sort of go out. Ooh, what's that? Yeah.
So tell me, what's a normal day out in the Maasai on at camp? What does it consist of? I wake up in the morning and or are we already gone before the day breaks? Like,
well, so you go out at sunrise, and depending on what you potentially could have seen already. So if you've been to other areas and you've seen leopard, you've seen lion, and now you want to go tracking for cheetah, for example, you may go into an area which is sort of their habitat. This is probably where the most chance you're going to see them. So you could go out for a few hours. They may just return. You may visit that Maasai village. You could go out for the entire day, and your camp or lodge may prepare for you a lunchbox. So you've got sort of provisions for you already.
Right.
So, but you could go out for a couple of hours, but it's the thrill of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to see next, and there could be word that there's a leopard up a tree for kill, possibly. And then vehicles are leading to that, and then you start making your way around it. But with your guides, they understand the behavioural standards of the animals. They can also understand the tracking. They can look at paw prints. They can see marks in the ground and then identify potentially what that was.
Yeah.
And then they could start tracking in that direction. So yeah, again, that guiding experience is what your clients are there for, and you're in their hands, knowing that your clients are wanting to potentially to see. Yes, we want to see a cheetah. Yes, we want to see a lion. We want to see that river crossing. But it is an animal. You're in their world. You really just have to have patience and hope for the best.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
So we've now spoken for about 20 minutes on just Kenya.
Wow.
So that's East Africa, and that's where a lot of people come in and go, well, I want to see this. South Africa, and then I want to go to Vic Falls, and I want to see some Botswana, and then I want to go up to like, what's the advice? Because it's a big place. Just by the look of these maps.
So
what's the advice?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, so if it's just animals and that's it, you don't want to see Cape Town. That's not your thing. You don't want to see a waterfall. You may live near a river. Why don't I want to go and see another one? Yeah. So if it's just animals, that's all you need to do. You would visit East Africa because that's where we put the trip together on all of the wilderness areas. If your clients are wanting to do Victoria Falls and are looking to combine animals, yes, they still want to go off and do animals. They still want to see a leopard. They still want to see elephants and giraffes and bird life and a bit of culture. Well, then that's when we can combine Southern Africa with visiting 4, potentially 5 areas over a 2 up to 3 weeks, which will give you a great diverse itinerary. So in no particular order, you could land in Johannesburg from Sydney or from Perth, so you don't need to go by the Middle East. You can easily go by Singapore. You can even fly by Mauritius. But from Sydney or from Perth on Qantas, you've got South African Airways from Perth, and you've got Singapore Airlines.
Plenty of ways to get in there.
You can, So from Johannesburg, in no particular order, you can start or end in Cape Town for at least 3 or 4 days, quite easily. Table Mountain, the Cape of Good Hope, the wine region, Robben Island, the Art Deco buildings in the museums in the downtown areas of Cape Town, and explore the beaches and the culture. You can have up to a week there. The beaches, you can head down the coast. You can head down and look for the Marine 5, like sharks, dolphins, penguins, seals.
Can I hire a car in that part of the world?
Yeah, look, this is probably one of the areas where we would recommend self-drive, where you could go from Cape Town.
What a good idea.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's ideas. There's another one. But you do have tour operators that we can put this for you quite easily, where you go, again, you are traveling with a guide, with one of our travel partners that we use on the ground, where you would spend potentially a week from Cape Town through to Knysna, Mossel Bay, George, Plettenberg Bay, Titicaca National Park here. You could do a whole week over here.
There's wineries. Beautiful
wineries, Stellenbosch and Franschhoek. So Stellenbosch reminds me of Hahndorf in South Australia in a little bit of a way. But then you move into Franschhoek, And it reminds me of going to Queenstown, New Zealand, in a sense. But just let me explain. Take out like Mokatipu and then put the wineries. Because you were standing in the middle of Franschhoek there and you look around and you've got these 360 of mountains around you.
Wow.
Very rare tale. I love to compare it. That's what it felt like. So if you like your gourmet experiences, you can spend a couple of days in this area. Then you can combine heading down to the Cape of Good Hope. This is the shipping navigational history here. So when the Atlantic met the Indian Ocean for shipping, there's the right down here at the Cape, further down there to Cape Point itself.
Right.
You can head down through to the coast there and you can have a great explore of the coastal aspect of it too. So you could have a good 4 or 5 days in Cape Town. Great way to start or end. The airport's so you need to head west from Cape Town, and then the wine region's sort of on the opposite side. So you could finish with a winery, then to the airport, then home. You could then go to Kruger, to the private game reserves. Now, this is here where you've got 440 kilometres of national park. But adjacent to that in the lower end is the Sabi Sands. So this is where you've got some prestigious, renowned private game reserves in the Sabi Sands, which is the land adjacent to the national park. And this is where you've got properties such as Sabi, Lion Sands, Nondalozi, Leopard Hills, Cheetah Plains, just to name a few in this area. So you've got these prestigious, well-renowned private game reserves where only with your clients that are staying here, get the experience of looking for these animals on their 10, 11, 15.
That's an even better idea.
No.
So then from
That's all right. It doesn't matter.
Cuts. No,
It's not going to cut. No, we're not
fine.
cutting it.
So you could have a good 2 or 3 nights in this area here quite easily. Go out. Then this is where the safari is different in Southern Africa. Because you go out for the morning, you go out again in the afternoon. You've got this window of downtime. You can spend time in the lodge. You can go for a nature walk. You could just do nothing. Enjoy the facilities, have a day spa. There could be an activity where they may take you in to do the panorama route, but you'd probably tend to do that more if you're going to the northern end of the Kruger down to the southern end, where you could do God's Window, Berkeley's Potholes, the Blind River Canyon. You've got that area up there. Victoria Falls up in Zimbabwe, bordering onto Zambia. It's the widest waterfall in the world. It's a distance of about 1.7 kilometres, the width of it, and the border of Zimbabwe and Zambia is between the two. So the Zimbabwean side, you would land at Victoria Falls. If you went onto the Zambian side, that's Livingston. So the Zim side's about 1.1 kilometres. The Zambian side's about 600 metres. And if you're on the Zim side and you're doing the walk of the falls, it's about a 3-kilometre return walk.
Right.
On average, you'd stop at about 15 different viewpoints.
Yep.
The border bridge here, this is here the border between the two countries. And you would at least have 2 nights here, possibly 3. You would do a guided walk at Victoria Falls. You would do a boat cruise on the Zambezi River. And you do this in the afternoon as the sun goes down. You may see some game along the river. You may see elephants. You may see giraffes. You see hippos and crocodiles and the bird life along the river. And there's other activities. Highly recommend a helicopter over Vic Falls if the clients have the budget for that. Highly recommend to see the Zambezi River, the falls, and then what it creates, which is the lower Zambezi. You could do a bit more adrenaline. That bridge across the two countries, there's a little rope that you can attach yourself. You can do a bungee jump. So you're going to do that when you're there, aren't you?
Right, maybe.
Yes, for sure. You could do a whole range of adrenaline activities in Big Falls. But there's lots of beautiful accommodation choices here too, either in the heart of town, the classic hotel, Victoria Falls Hotel, right in Vic Falls itself. Whereas you can go all the way along the river to places like Matetsi, where you are along the river, away from people and civilization, in the Zambezi National Park, where it's like you're on safari again.
Wow. Yeah.
So you've got the falls up the road. So it just comes down to what the client wants. So we would then choose the accommodation accordingly based on activities where they're staying.
Yep.
And then from Victoria Falls, approximately, look, depending on the day, the border crossings going from the Zim side to the Chobe, to the Botswana side is the Chobe National Park. So the Chobe National Park is the biggest elephant population, approximately 60 to 70,000 elephants. and the national park extends south. It extends west along the riverbanks. So here you can do boat cruising as well as safari. So you would do this here for a good 2, 3 nights, and then that way you've given your clients two different safari experiences, possibly a third even at Victoria Falls in the Zambezi National Park. And then you've done your culture, landscape, scenery down in Cape Town, and then of course you've had your safari in Kruger region as well.
Yep.
So that would be your 4 big things. But then you've got a bit of diversity kicking in already. So say your clients are wanting just animal experiences but want to combine it with as much waterways as possible. Then we'd recommend heading down to the Okavango Delta
Which is in?
in Botswana.
Yep.
So you'd fly to Maun, and then you could stay on an island within the delta itself. And here you've got up to 7 or 8 activities a day. So game drives on the Marimi Game Reserve. You could do scenic flights, helicopter, nature walk, boat cruising, fishing, or doing nothing. Staying at your tented camp or lodge and just taking in the serenity, and then getting a tap on the shoulder, quick, come and see us. There's something that was seen by one of the guides. So you can really have quite a few different places within the Delta. You can be on an island, you can be in an area where you've got water and land, or you can be further into areas such as Savute, where it's land, and then you make your way up to Chobe. So you could go from Maun through the Delta into the Chobe National Park and out on Victoria Falls. So that could be another thing too.
That's an option. What's the other one?
Well, do you get many of your clients that like train travel?
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
love trains.
So within Africa, we are very blessed to have 2 of the world's finest rail journeys that rail operators adhere. So we have Robust Rail and we have the Blue Train.
Yep.
So the Blue Train operates between Cape Town and Pretoria. This is its main route, and this is what it does. So I like to compare this to the GAN or Indian Pacific in a sense of the interiors of the cabins feel like the Platinum Class cabin.
Yep.
And it's double glazed windows, fully air conditioned on the inside. There's no windows that drop down. The rear lounge car is a dome window, and you have off-train activities at Kimberley to see the diamond mines, the big hole, and then outside Cape Town at Marquisfontein.
Right.
So you've got that experience. 5-star dining, of course. Dinner's formal, so you can't be in jeans, denim. You need to look the part. And
Not even dark jeans. No, slacks. Okay.
well, you're not going to starve.
Thank you very
but
much.
you make the effort. So, but then Rovos Rail is the romance of rail travel. So that package there, that 5-star luxury one.
Yeah.
So you can see there. So the rolling stock there, if you have been on the old Victorian railways where you got the wooden rolling stock and the windows drop
Yep.
down.
Yep.
So classic carriage rolling stock. It travels a lot slower. However, it's privately owned, and the emphasis on the journey and the experiences and the service and a range of itineraries. So not only Cape Town to Pretoria, just outside Johannesburg, you can go into Namibia with a whole range of activities. You can go from Johannesburg through Zimbabwe to into Victoria
Wow.
Falls.
Yeah.
The big trip is from Cape Town through South Africa and through Zimbabwe to end in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania over 14 days.
Really?
Yeah, so you're 14-day rail safari.
So, and you would hop on and stay, or
Yep.
would you? Or
Yep.
would be
So
on the
yeah,
train
yep.
from
So you have a few nights at Victoria Falls. There's private safari time in South Africa. You got more stops through Zambia as well, into Tanzania as well. So you've actually got a 14-day itinerary.
Yep.
So that's a really good one.
centered around train travel
Yeah.
as the means to get you from A to B?
Yep, that's right. So if
Fantastic.
you're doing Southern Africa only and you're
Yep.
wanting to do Cape Town and a private safari in Kruger, wanting to see Victoria Falls and then Chobe,
And love trains.
yeah, you can involve Robos Rail into this
Wow.
from Pretoria to Vic Falls at the start, or at the end, or Cape Town back to Pretoria.
Yeah.
So it's just another way that you can add that in.
What about for families? So with kids,
Yep.
you know, what's the youngest you should be taking kids
Well,
to Africa?
every lodge is
What do you
different.
recommend?
Every lodge is different. We get lots of bookings for families. We get multi-generational bookings as well. The grandparents and the adults are taking the grandchildren away.
Mhm.
So we do see all ages come come through us. So we just need to know the ages of the children.
Yep.
We will then work out an itinerary which is child friendly.
Yep.
There are lodges, particularly up in Madikwe, up on the border of northern South Africa onto Botswana.
Yep.
Madikwe is renowned for being family friendly, of course. Lots of family friendly lodges. Lots of that also in the Kruger region, in the Sabi Sands and into the north. Lots of activities in Cape Town. You got Sun City just outside outside Johannesburg.
So
as
what's
well.
Sun City about?
It's got over 100 activities. It's the Vegas of Africa.
Okay.
So there's shows, entertainment, golf courses, day spas. There's the water theme park, the wave pool, the lake, of course. So you've got lots of activity
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Blended?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not exactly like that.
I wouldn't figure so.
It's a Hollywood audience, but you get a feel for what Sun City's about.
So you can put together too a tailor-made itinerary for families,
Of course.
depending on what
Yeah,
their needs are.
absolutely. Yeah.
In fact,
So-
we've got someone going into the Maasai and Serengeti later this year
Yep.
that you've assisted us
yeah,
with.
so we just need to know the ages of the
Yep.
children when they're actually going to be traveling.
Yep.
So then that way we can match it with appropriate accommodation to
Yep.
suit.
Perfect. Is there anything else that we're missing for Africa?
Well, you need
Of course there would be. It's a big
Oh,
place, but
yes.
yeah.
How long is the piece of string? So yeah, budget of course is essential. So when planning, you need to be realistic with Africa is going to be of a premium to high-end experience.
Yeah.
So if you were to be considering doing East Africa for a 2-week trip, at least you're looking anything from 15 to 20 grand per person,
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah.
And
that's to do
then
it
some.
private guided, your own
Yeah.
guide, small
or
vehicle.
traveling in a group on a set departure day.
Yeah.
So anything 15, 20, 25 per person.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of what pricing's like in 2026.
Yeah.
Southern Africa, what probably not as high, you could still be looking comfortably to do Cape Town, Big Falls, Kruger, and Chobe, 10, 15, 20 per person,
Yep.
comfortably
Yep.
in at 4 to 5-star level as well. But again, working with a budget, speaking to yourself and Karina to get a bit of an understanding of what it's actually going to cost. Some of these packages that we've designed just to give you an idea of what it's all about.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Is there
so-
anything else that we need to know about the travel specialists and what your organisation gives to customers in particular?
Well, we're quite fortunate here that Karina, your wife, has travelled to
She has.
Tanzania with our company a couple of years ago.
Yep.
In addition to what you've done, and the clients travel with us already. So
Yes.
you've got experience of using our services and our experience and knowledge.
It's like the best. We've got 3 photos in our office that Karina took in the Maasai and Samburu, and they're pride and place, and fond memories of my wife traveling with the African travel specialists. all
Yeah,
there
well,
5
that's
years
it.
ago.
And because it's a destination that can be quite perceived as complex and might be a bit unsure, having me install here with Paul or Karina can be arranged.
Yep.
So you would like to have a detailed consultation, that's something that we can do, which
Absolutely.
we've done before.
Yeah, we have.
We did an African film night last year, which we haven't set the date to do one this year, which
to do
we're going to
that.
do that as well. And we do a presentation on the regions of what we spoke about with a few videos and images and more of an expansion of what we've spoken about today.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks, Jules, for coming in. That was fantastic. It's a big, wide world out there. Really good to focus on Africa. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming
Absolute pleasure.
in. Awesome to see you again. And
Thank you very much.
until next time, keep traveling.
Helloworld travel, we're the travel professionals.